Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and thank you so much for joining me this week. So this week I'm going to be comparing a few different AI models to see which one is going to give me the best ideas for inquiry-based mathematics lessons for middle school. So if you're interested in coming with me to explore Gemini, DeepSeek and Claude and which model is going to give me the best ideas for mathematics learning in an inquiry-based environment, then please keep on watching. Okay, so I'm about to go and connect with beautiful educators in Romania, and I'm going to be working with a group of middle school teachers in Romania. And I thought one of the really important concepts that I wanted to cover with these teachers is the idea of using inquiry in the classroom and also using inductive learning experiences. So I've got some activities that I've been using for a few years, but I wanted some fresh ideas. And so what I did first of all was Metaprompt. So I've talked about metaprompting before, where you go and ask a large language model for a really comprehensive prompt before you actually then go to the other model to use the prompt, so that we actually are not wasting any energy or any resources, but we're starting off with a really good comprehensive prompt. So let me just share what prompt I got. Okay, so I went into Poe. I do have a subscription to Poe, but I'm becoming quite disappointed with Poe. I can use Poe for really basic outputs and basic functions, but anything complex like simulations, it very quickly asks me to use more credits. And so, I'm beginning to think that it's not going to be one of the AI models that I'm going to recommend to teachers, because they used to have a free version where everyone could trial things. But we tried it in a workshop recently, actually in Hong Kong, and no one could actually get their output because of the uses of credits on the free version. I just use Poe for basic outputs that I want, conversations, things about how I communicate things, emails, very low level stuff. And so you'll see here, so I use 4.6, which is the latest model. I think is 4.7 now, but anyway, it doesn't matter. So I said, can you give me a really comprehensive prompt to input into an AI model that is about giving 10 suggestions for middle school inquiry-based inductive mathematics learning experiences? And then look at the long prompt that it gave me. So let's have a look at this and see whether I need to edit this. Okay, prompt. You're an experienced middle school mathematics educator. Okay, normally I don't have to put a role, but I'm going to include it. And curriculum designer with deep expertise in inquiry-based and inductive learning pedagogies. Your task is to generate 10 detailed classroom-ready suggestions for middle school inquiry-based inductive mathematics learning experiences. So here's the context. Okay, inquiry-based learning means students investigate questions, problems, or scenarios and construct understanding through exploration rather than direct instruction. Inductive learning specifically means students examine specific cases, patterns, or examples first, and then draw broader generalizations, rules, or concepts from those observations. The opposite of being told the rule and then practicing it. Okay, so I've got the student audience is middle school. It's actually middle school in Romania, so I know that the mathematics is a little bit more advanced. For example, in grade 7, they actually teach the introductory trigonometry, sine, cos, and tan ratios. So I wonder if I should put that. I might add that in when I put this into the other model. So here, for each of the 10, compelling student-friendly title, the core mathematics concept or standard, clear description of the inductive inquiry hook, step-by-step outline of the sequence, key questions a teacher should be asking, what manipulative tools or technology would enhance the experience, great. The collaborative structure, good. Pair work, small groups, whole class discussion. Suggested formative assessment, great. A brief note on differentiation, wonderful. This is actually really comprehensive. An estimated time for activity, I don't really need that actually, but anyway. Additional requirements, okay, span a variety of mathematical domains, absolutely. Vary the context, okay. Vary the format, so at least one activity uses physical manipulatives. I love that. All 10 activities should be genuinely inductive. Activities should feel engaging, curiosity driven, and appropriate. Wow, this is really long. Avoid activities that are just open-ended practice. So I think I don't need to edit this very much. I'm going to copy this. So here, copy the message. And I think I'm just going to put in Romanian and let's see if it knows the Romanian topics. Let's start off with Gemini. So Gemini was only recently available in Hong Kong since about March this year, 2026. And you can see we've got a few different models. I might try the 3.1 Pro. I am actually on the free plan. And then I've got thinking model. Let's do it complex extended maths problem solving. So I'm going to copy and paste that. So let's see what it comes up with. So I'm going to get that running. And then while that's running on Gemini, let me go to DeepSeek. I'm going to try DeepSeek. And I'm going to copy and paste that again and run that in DeepSeek. And I've also got my VPN on. I'm going to run that in Claude as well. So we've got 3 different models. We've got Gemini. Okay, it's creating the activities. DeepSeek. Oh, and DeepSeek is pretty fast, and it's already started showing me some of the ideas. I love the stacking cups activity, actually, how high. It's great for linear functions. I like how with DeepSeek and with Gemini, you can at least see some things that are happening, right? That the output and some of the ideas without the whole thing just being given to you at the end. Like I have a feeling Claude is just going to give me everything in one go. So I can't check it as I go. And the thing with Claude is I can't interrupt it. Well, I can. I have to stop the whole thing, interrupt it to say something. And of course, guess what? Next week, I'm going to give the same prompt into Manus. And let's see how Manus does. Okay, so let's come back to DeepSeek. Yep, DeepSeek has finished. So let me just go back to the top. I don't want to go through all of this, but I'll give you an idea. Splitting the bill fairly. Okay, so students receive restaurant bills from 4 different tables. Each bill shows the total amount. Okay, and the amount one person paid. Some tables left a tip. Okay, all right, and it's actually used Romanian currency here. Okay, so that's one handshake problem. Yep, that's a great problem actually. So inductive hook, students act out small group handshakes. In groups of 3, everyone shakes hands once. Yep. And we can look at the patterns. Here's some teacher questions, collaboration. Okay, I mean, it's giving me an outline, right? What's the shape rule? So looking at, I suppose, growing polygons. I imagine 6 different polygons cut from paper. No labels. Okay, so it's not giving me a lot of detail. Like I couldn't go and use this. I've just got an idea of it. Stacking cups I'm familiar with, which is a really good topic, an activity to do using something physical. Okay, rolling for sums, so probability and rolling dice. Okay, we could probably use some AI here. We're going to be rolling a dice lots of times. And tile patterns, yep, growing squares. Yep, I'm familiar with that. So it's given me some interesting idea. Inverse functions, looking at operation machines. Okay, and which container holds more? Looking at the cylinder dilemma. Okay, let me just look at the last 2. Strange spinners, expected values without a formula, statistics. And what's the angle? So looking at angle of incidence and angle of reflection. Okay, all right, they're the 10 ideas from DeepSeek. Let's have a look at Gemini, and then I'm going to give you my final opinion. So matchstick, yeah, we love matchstick problems and using matchsticks, but Nowadays, actually, it's quite difficult to find matchsticks. This was an activity we used to do in the 80s where there were lots of matchsticks because I suppose more people were smoking and using matchsticks. I probably use toothpicks now, but that is a great activity. Okay, it tells me the actual core concept in mathematics as well. The triangle tear down, so looking at the angle sum of a triangle. Yep. Okay, looking, yep, I can see what they're doing here. So that's something quite physical as well. They're using scissors, cutting out circle secret ratio. That's discovering pi. So using string. Yep, this is a pretty standard activity too. I like these ideas though. These are the ideas that I've used in the classroom. The dice illusion. So looking at statistics and probability, and students play a simple dice game that feels rigged, leading them to question why short-term results don't match long-term. Yep. That's one that I've used as well. The shrinking problem. Yep. So number and operations multiplying integers negative by negative is a positive, and why? So looking at some patterns. Yep. This is one that I have used. So I can't say these are good activities from Gemini, but I can't say that any are really creative because all of these activities I've seen before and I use, but at least it's good to help to remind me of these activities. The area shifter, so area of a parallelogram, and I imagine that they're cutting that so that it becomes a rectangle. Yeah, so that's one that I like to use as well. The data plan dilemma. So this is systems of linear equations. And what are we doing? We're presented with real-world scenario involving two Romanian mobile phone carriers. Okay, yeah, that might be, that's a pretty classic exploration as well. The exponent expander. Okay, so we're looking at, yeah, the exponent rules. Yeah, okay, and looking at numerical numbers first and then generalizing algebraically. Vitruvian Student. Okay, so this is inspired by Da Vinci's Vitruvian Man. So they measure themselves to answer a political question. Middle schoolers squares or rectangles? I used to use this activity and we named it How Square Are You? And so I do like the activity, but I used to use this 20 years ago, and I'm not sure now about measuring students' height and arm span because we don't want students to be self-conscious about taking physical measurements of themselves. So I'm undecided about that one. I've got to think about that one. Okay, and then the Pythagorean puzzle where, yeah, we literally have squares attached to each of the sides of the right angle and we work out the carrot. Okay, so Gemini, not too bad. I've seen all of the ideas, I would say, but at least it's a good reminder. And for a new teacher looking at this, I think it would be great actually to get these ideas. Okay, let's have a look at Claude. All right, so we'll go back. I don't want this video to be too long, so I'm just going to quickly go through this, okay? So I can normally look at it.
One eternity later.
Divisibility detectives. We're sorting out 20 to 25 cards into piles, verifying with calculators. Each pair as a column. Okay, so you're working out the divisibility rules, I suppose. Yeah, okay. All right, fair enough. Okay, toothpick towers. All right, so they're not using matchsticks anymore. So this is similar to the growing matchstick activity, but I like it. So maybe, yeah, I'm going to use this. The polygon angle mystery. So this is really similar too to the ideas from Gemini, but instead we're using GeoGebra for the growing sequence. Okay, hunting for pi. That's interesting. This is very similar to all of the ideas from Gemini. So what are we doing? We're measuring using the string. Okay, it's all very standard, isn't it? Anything creative though? The long run. What's this one about? Oh, if I roll a dice 6 times, I should get exactly one of each number. So this is the same idea as Gemini gave. Body proportion, this is exactly the same. And looking at Leonardo da Vinci's. Wow. I mean, we don't want a whole bank of really generic inductive inquiry learning activities across the world, even though there are some that are really classic problems and explorations, but we don't want everyone doing exactly the same thing, right? Okay, so this wasn't mentioned, the exchange rate, looking at the exchange rate between the euro and then the Romanian currency. The handshake that was mentioned as well. Okay, the square deal. What's this one? Oh, right angle triangle, and it's doing Pythagorean theorem again. And then when giants walk. Okay, what's this one? Why couldn't a real person be the size of a fairy tale giant? And why isn't a mouse just built like a tiny elephant? To investigate, groups build cubes from snap cubes or multi-link cubes with sides 1, 2, and 3 starting from the concrete before any biology or formula appears, okay? And that's to do with surface area. All right, so I like how I've got a nice summary here from Claude of the 10, and then it tells me the domain, the context, and then the physical format. Okay, what is my final judgment? I've compared the results for inductive inquiry for middle school mathematics students on DeepSeek, Gemini, and Claude, the latest Claude model, and I can't say there's a clear winner. Gemini and Claude gave very similar responses and ideas for explorations. I would say Claude probably gave me more detail, but Gemini, it was perfectly suffice, I would say, in terms of the output. I can't say any of them were really creative and new. A lot of the ideas I've used, but then I suppose when you have good maths explorations, continue to use them. I mean, how many ways can we discover pi? We're going to look at different size circles. We're going to look at square, string and look at the circumference, look at the diameter and look at that ratio. I didn't see any of them connect that to a linear function though. So I think the creativity comes is when we connect the ratio of circumference to diameter and linear functions, right? Those two domains. So I didn't see anything really creative. Watch this space next week for when I look at Manus. And I wonder if Manus is going to give me more creative ideas. So thank you so much for watching this week, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.